Hello and welcome to the first episode of Let's Transform a Village. This is a Let's build where I basically transform a normal vanilla Minecraft village into what you see there, a fantastic looking town. But for this to work effectively, I'm going to have to start with a plan. So I'm going to open up MS Paint and I'm just going to draw what I want to do with this village. I'm going to remove some of the more pointless little buildings that I won't necessarily use. I'm then going to add a wall all the way around the village. I'm going to leave a few gaps that you can go in and out or whichever direction you want. This farm here, I'm just going to extend that, get rid of the wood, I'm going to remove that farm. I'm going to make this a real farm here. I'm going to make a little arch entrance at the front there. I'm going to make this house here into like a proper big house, not a crappy little Minecraft village one. And then I'm going to connect this little hut here. I'm going to make it into a nice house as well, but I'm going to connect it to that little one there and make a big one. Now that's a little less transforming, more creative building. So yeah, I'm going to make that the town square, and I'm going to remove this well. I'm going to transform this house into a good one, and I'm also going to improve that, although I may just get rid of it because it's fairly useless. I also am going to improve this house and this one. Okay, so now that you've all seen my amazing MS Paint skills, it's time to actually get started. Okay, so I'm going to be using World Edit a lot in this. Just like I said in the plan, I'm going to get rid of the little houses that I don't plan on using. Now, because I am using World Edit, that isn't to say that you can't do it by hand yourself. It would just take a lot longer. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using World Edit because it is a lot faster. Now I'm going to be using the sphere brush and just dotting the spheres around where I want the base of my wall to be. I'm going to start with a larger brush with a size 3 and then move on to a 2 where I detail it a little more with a smaller brush size. So now it's time to actually build the wall. I'm going to start by placing some log, and I'm going to follow the curvature of the base by placing 2 log, then 2 spruce wood, then 2 log, in a line that follows that, as I said, curvature. And once I've done that, I'm going to raise up all of those logs and spruce woods to the height that I want the wall to be. And I'll detail the top of it just so it looks like a complete wooden wall. I'm only going to complete one section of this just to show you the technique that I'm using, just so you don't see myself repeating the same build for the next half an hour. So you can further detail the wall just by, on the outside, placing down some spruce that go along the floor and then up a bit, and either putting some fence or some spruce staircase again. It just sort of gives the wall a bit more thickness and it looks a little bit more detailed. Now I'm just going to quickly finish off this segment of the wall before I move on to finishing the other 2 segments and having a complete looking wall. So, like before, I'm using the same technique of following the curvature, raising the wall, detailing it, and it's just time consuming. It's a very easy technique to do. I'm just going to skip ahead to when I've completed all of them, and I've gone all the way around the village doing all 3 segments, and it looks a little something like this. Now I'm going to be working on that little archway that I drew. I'm going to start by making 2 log pillars, one taller than the other, and connect the 2 with one on top, decorate it with some half slabs, and then as a further decoration I'm going to turn all of the logs into 6-sided bark so that there's none of that white texture on it. I decided to get rid of the church at the back and I just fixed the terrain underneath it. I didn't want to throw another style in the works on this Let's build, just keeping it simple. Okay, once I've done that, I then decide to move on to doing some actual houses. Things might go a little too fast here because I've sped up the footage to really shorten this video down, but what I'm doing here is making a frame using those 2 small houses. I'm using the corners as the basis of my frame. I'm then using a bit of imagination and I'm making it curve round and producing a really firm frame for the build. I'm turning what was 2 little huts with barely enough room to move into one big house that's really going to dominate this village. If you're undergoing a project similar to this and you need a more detailed tutorial on how to make a house using this style, I have just the video for you and I will link it in the description. Now I have to apologise at this point, I'm quite a finicky builder, and I like to dart around all over the build before I actually finish any one part. I've said it one time and I'll say it again, I really like having a full frame before I do anything. That way you can get a real image for the whole build, rather than just finishing one house, realising you could do that better, and having to start again. So I just went round and did some basic frames on all the houses, just putting logs at the corners, one block out, and seeing how it looked. Vanilla villages, by design, are a bit messy and, let's be frank, quite ugly, which is why we're undergoing this project, living with villagers in a nice town. I did find while I was building this, by the way, that mobs will spawn and kill the villagers, so if that was your goal, do light the whole thing up, or you will find that there are no villagers by the time you've finished. Okay, so vanilla villages are, as I said earlier, a bit ugly, so as I'm going around doing the frame, I like to just tidy up all the little bits here and there, like flowers or the farms that I'm not going to use. It just helps set in motion all of the layout, which is practically what we're doing this point of the build. I then decide that I've done enough frame and I've done a bit of tidying, so I go back to my original house that I was working on, the one that's going to dominate the scene, and I start working on the roof. And if you haven't seen the house tutorial, this may look a little bit more complicated than it needs to. You can go and watch my tutorial and it will really help you understand what's going on. It's very simple. I'm just doing the frame of the roof. Using cobblestone block and cobblestone stairs, I create an overhang and I create an archway over the top, and this defines exactly what the roof is going to look like on these houses. And it's kind of the same story for the rest of the village. The whole village is going to follow the same style of this one house. So if you can get it right first time on your first house, you can just replicate it for every single one. No worries. Now I am going to have to end this video here. This is the first part of the Let's Build. There will potentially be a second and third one. If you are undergoing a project like this, I do encourage you to use this style. It's very effective, especially using the original layout of a vanilla village and just editing it to suit you. Okay, well that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully see you on the next video.